Eric, welcome. Thanks for joining
Morning,
us this morning.
morning, morning.
Excited to have you.
Like I said, I'm excited to be here. Let's man, I'd love to like blow this chat up a little bit because I want to make sure I'm here for you guys. And before I get started, I want to make sure I'm also uh kind of making sure that the level of AI fluency, I kind of understand everybody in the room or as much as possible. Would you guys mind quickly in the chat putting ranking yourself on an AI fluency 1 to 10? 10 being the master, like you can pretty much, like send out your swarm of AIs to do whatever. One, you're just kind of getting started. And if you think of yourself above a 5 or a 6, make sure that includes like you're using, like Cowork or Claude or Manus or, Swarms or Kimi K2.5 or, OpenClaw, some of these things. If you're going to give yourself above a 5, no, somebody put 6 or 7. I know it. I knew it. I knew Was it Olivia? Yeah, Olivia. I knew it. Somebody had to. You got kids, obviously. Who doesn't? Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Um, and that will really help. Let's see here. Efren, -10. 3, 5, 3, 4, 6, right on 2. Okay. Patrick's an 8. Patrick's an 8. Oh boy. I figured that. Okay, good. This will also make sure I kind of get things going. 0, 10.
Thanks for that framing
Thank
too,
you.
Eric. So I'm seeing people are all across the board. We've got twos, eights,
Yeah.
right, all over the place. But some of that framing also, like this is what we mean if you're really proficient at what
Yeah.
you're using. It's beyond just writing emails or um, having an account you visit every day.
Yeah, and that's really changing fast, honestly. When we talk about AI fluency and moving from chatbot and chatting with ChatGPT to agentic workflows and, integrated tools and things like that, is really 2026 is going to change a lot of the way people use AI. And, so really just I saw the reemergence of the solo agent happening as we, been really diving into real estate agents and mortgage professionals' businesses. So we're going to talk about that, talk about kind of what question did I ask and caused all this research and all this work that we've been done over the last few years. What do we need to know about the AI-powered consumer? We're going to talk about that today because as I've said, and if anybody's heard me say this, I'm going to keep saying it, I'm going to keep saying it. The biggest threat to our business is the AI-powered consumer. It's not Zillow, it's not your AI-powered competitor, it's not Rocket Mortgage, it's not Redfin, it's what your consumer can do with AI. And Danielle, I was thinking about this over the weekend. We don't talk about this enough, but our consumers and our industry got AI at the same time, right? It's not like we were given an advantage and got that ahead of time. And so we have our consumers learning about AI and how to use it in their business and in their life at the same time we are. And I've noticed a lot of consumers are way ahead of their professional. I'm not just talking in real estate, but their lawyer, their dentist, their doctor, their financial planner, anybody that's in a knowledge-based service industry. But like my lawyer called me the other day, he's like, "Bro, I'm so tired of people checking my work with ChatGPT now." Like our consumer has AI in their pocket and they're using it like a trusted advisor. So that's just a new dynamic, Daniel. We should probably talk about that more off camera about how we're going to really move that forward a little bit.
Mhm.
And kind of really what AI tools do you really need, or what type or what category of AI tools you really need to win in this business as a solo or as a small team? And then what's the process to win? Those are the things that we're going to go through today. And the quote really is the market's chaotic, but your profit doesn't have to be, is really what I've noticed. And one of the things that we're focused on with our customers is creating what I'm calling durable profit, a durable business, the type of business that can withstand interest rates going up and down, technology coming and going, market trends, political economics, just everything. But how do you have a durable business with durable profit? And that's really what we're focused on because other than that, you're kind of at the mercy of too many things that's out there. Um, let's go. Let's go. And I have a screen. Can you see my full screen, by the way, Danielle?
We can, yeah.
Okay. I can't see the chats, and I'm going to require you to like butt in and make sure if people have questions in chats, do so. This is supposed to be interactive. And thirdly, Danielle, I want you to make sure that if I'm going too fast or skip a point, and you want to dive a little deeper, please like interrupt me and we'll get going a little deeper, okay?
Great.
Well, how the heck did we end up here? Our last 3 years, we've ran pilot programs with mortgage, title, and real estate from the solo to the team leader to the brokerage, all the way up to the enterprise level. and have started to see a lot of trends of what helps drive adoption, what actually moves the needle, and what was a shiny, flashy thing or shiny, flashy concept. It doesn't matter anymore. Or more importantly, what's just become table stakes now. That was an advantage a couple of months ago or a couple of years ago, and is no longer an advantage. It's just the table stakes of today. We're going to talk about that as well. But really, I also want to know if anybody's going to be here in the business longer than the next 6 months to a year, please put your thinker hat on today and really think about like some of the concepts we're going to talk about because I'm telling you, this is the year where AI does actually start to change things dramatically, okay, for the industry. And if you are planning on being here longer than 6 months or a year, then there are some things that you should really seriously consider about the way you structure your business structure, the way you're interacting with your customers, and the types of tools that you're choosing. So that's kind of the crossroads we're here. If you're going to be here just 6 months or a year, cool, whatever. You keep doing what you're doing. Other than that, really stop to take a pause and really think about, where things are headed. Um, okay. The main thing that I think that we've learned over the last couple of years, Danielle and everybody else, agents and mortgage brokers don't need more ideas, don't need more technology, and don't need more logins to things. Like this industry does not have a technology problem. We got plenty. It doesn't have an idea problem. We've got plenty, but it's got an implementation and execution problem, is really what just became super obvious with all these pilots and programs that we're working on, all these people that we're coaching, Danielle. And does that land with you, first of all, Danielle? Does that make sense?
It does, and I think this is what I'm really excited to get into today is we have all these ideas and we have the desire to learn and leverage technology, but how do we see the return on investment? And like, are you seeing a difference between the people who have these ideas and are looking for ways to run those forward, and then those that are actually seeing measurable results?
There's the difference right there. One of the things, and since we're going to talk about, really high producers, top producers, and solo agents that are killing it, or small teams that used to have to be big teams, now they can downsize and have a smaller team. We're really going to talk about one of the fundamental shifts right at the beginning here is that a lot of people are asking the question, say, hey, how can I use AI in my business? And I've noticed the killers, the top producers, the ones that are crushing it, have started to also transition. They're saying, no, how can AI be used on my business? How do I not be the one that spends 4 hours a day trying to learn all these new tools and building all these things? But how do I find people that are leveraged that I can implement, work with, partner, JV with, hire, whatever, that AI power is used on my business so they can stay focused on the things that move the needle in their business and not learning every new tool every week all the time. And that's a really fundamental big thing. I've seen like people with small teams or by themselves, they're raising their AI fluency, but they have no one around them that's going with them, and that's hard, right? That's a hard place to be lonely when you're just using everything by yourself, and you have to have your realtor partners, your lender partners, your title reps have to be kind of at the same fluency as you to understand your problems and your solutions as you. So reassessing your teams, because again, you guys have always heard me say, I'm not pro AI, I'm pro leverage. I'm pro giving our consumer a more transparent, consistent, memorable experience. And AI just happens to be one of the least expensive ways we can have leverage in our business. And so that shift of like, do I need to learn everything or do I need to know people that know how to use things? Then I could just work with them and then I get that benefit of leverage without me having to take the time.
Mm.
Okay. Next slide. We're going to bust through a bunch of slides today. The fun thing that I have noticed is a fun little doodle. I don't know, a fun little doodle. The fun thing I've noticed for some people is that when they're actually deploying tools and they've reassessed their business and modernized their business, they're ending up in a completely new business. They're ending up with a business that they own, not that they're owned by. Like they've done the thoughtful implementation of SOPs and processes and systems, and they've moved their business from the type of realtor or mortgage broker that had to always be available to the type of person and professional that was always worth waiting for, right? They've carved out a value. They have seen effectively that the middle class in this industry is evaporating. We've got the ones that are having a great business and earning consistent commissions, and the ones that are fighting for the leftovers. The middle class is really evaporating. We can see that in the stats in every market and in both mortgage and real estate, Danielle. Okay. And if anybody has any counterpoints to those things I'm saying, anything I'm saying today, if you think what I'm saying is not accurate, you got another thing to consider, please put that in the chat too, because I want to learn from other people that are out there. So if you got something else to say in addition to, put that in the chat. And Danielle, point that out for me too, okay?
I will. I'll just say too, I think what you're highlighting is that when you say AI on your business, we're talking to people about people who have operating procedures currently, or they recognize that they do SOPs in their business. They're not agents just starting out or without that clarity, looking for the technology to
Mm.
provide a solution, right? They've already found the process and then they're putting technology and AI on top of that, but it starts with that clarity. And I think that's kind of what you're illuminating here.
I mean, okay, just to get right at it here. AI is an amplifier of what you already are. So if you're kind of a chaotic business and you add a bunch of AI to it, it's going to be more chaotic. If you're a mediocre marketer and you add more AI to it, you're going to just produce more mediocre marketing. It's an amplifier of what you already are in that way. So it's really critical to make sure that you're pointing the amplification at something that you want to amplify. It's not chaos, right? It's like you have to like really be clear about that. And here's the thing that I don't know how else to word this, Danielle. We do in this business, we tend to protect what we believe to be our value. And we're saying, hey, well, AI could never replace a buyer's agent. AI could never replace a listing agent. And that's true to a point, but now there are AI systems that have sold over $100 million worth of real estate by itself with no human interaction. There's a new one in Florida that I just saw, in the last few months that's starting to do deals with no humans involved at all. There's continually new technologies that are popping up that want a bite at this apple, right? There's billions of dollars here in commission here at play, and it's going to be continually attacked by people wanting a piece of that. And so, yes, I believe in the human expert for sure, personally, Daniel. I mean, I hope that's really obviously. But just because you're you doesn't mean you can't be replaced unless you're thoughtful about it. And I don't know how else to word that. That doesn't sound like a doomsday or whatever. It's not meant to be pessimistic. It's just meant I'm seeing what's happening. I'm seeing AI-powered consumers spin up an AI assistant that's doing all the house searching for them. And then they spin up the next assistant that helps them write the offer for them. And then they spin up the next assistant that helps them negotiate the offer. And these are just regular people that have found out how to use AI in a way, and their AI knows every line of every transaction, every law, every rule, every line of that HOA documentation, every process, right? Every technicality. So just want to point that out. Now, that said, an expert, a domain expert with AI will always outdo the average consumer with AI, if that makes sense. So if you have the same tools and you give it to an expert, let's say a resourceful expert and a resourceful consumer, of course, the domain expert will be able to outperform and outserve them than they could on their own for sure. But you have to get yourself there as a professional, be able to outdo in that way those new consumers. And I didn't know how else to do it. I hope this slide kind of resonates and makes that palatable. I just think this is a time for our industry to be have a little bit of humility too. Is like, all right, what is our value? Like, what are we really doing that can't be replaced?
I'll add to that too. So, for anybody listening, when Eric first said that, and if you had the thought, no, I can't be replaced because my clients come to me for
Hmm.
that right there, you're already one step ahead of everybody else because you have clarity on the value you provide.
There you
And what
go.
you need to be focused on is that piece right there. Any system, any leverage you put in place in your business should be to amplify that thing that can't be replaced, the why your clients come to you where they wouldn't go to AI because everything else that's outside of that, they will go to AI for. Right.
We've been building tools now for a few years, and it's so funny. I put this up there, like, back in, November of 2022, started with the original designs. And even back then, one thing I'm really like excited about and kind of proud of, like February 26, 2023, we already built products where we had our own custom GPTs. GPTs weren't even a part of ChatGPT until November, right? We had like 9 months, we were 9 months ahead, even in the early phases of what other people were thinking about and deploying and implementing. So we've been thinking about these sorts of things for as long as anybody in this business. And the other thing I really want to point out is that there's a lot of bad advice in what's happening right now. And I feel like the plague that's happened on the industry for a lot of years, which that's we're just going to call it mediocrity, is even being amplified by AI. And so we got to be careful about who you're listening to for advice, making sure that they're just not saying the things and selling you courses because it sounds good, but they're actually doing the things that they're talking about and they have proof of that. And I want to make sure that that's just kind of out there today, especially when we talk with some of the new agentic tools that we will get into today. Safety, security is not being discussed enough. Our fiduciary responsibility is not being discussed enough, and so we want to have that be part of the conversation too. So, Danielle, I just want to say, like, our brand purpose really is to awaken creativity, inspire everybody we talk to new ways of seeing the world. That's what I want to hopefully accomplish today, is not just selling AI tools, but really have you like awaken something inside you go, oh, there's my niche. Oh, there's my competitive advantage. Oh, there's a way I could save 10 hours a day and reallocate my time to serve at a deeper level. Like the little things, that's what we really are focused on today. So I hope that we deliver on that for everybody on the call today. All right, what's been going on? The number one thing for agents is time. It's just the difference between the team leader and the solo agent is the team leader has figured out a way to delegate time out. And now the solo agent now is the same way to delegate time to their AI in a certain way. So we really want to focus on our time management. I don't know why the home buyer and sellers got an angry face. That wasn't on purpose here with this slide. It's got the icon's got a little angry face. What I am saying, what I was trying to do with this little icon is that home buyers and sellers are more maybe in the chat here, are you finding your home buyers and sellers are more educated on the market? Yes or no? I'd love to see that in the chat if you feel like that. Because our customers are saying for sure. They're showing up to showings with more education. They're showing up to listing appointments and they've got all the details from their own, AI assistant all ready to talk and compare about, right? Like these are very proactive people because, frankly, if you just look at the statistics of ChatGPT, 70% of all consumer use on ChatGPT is not business related. They're talking about their home buying and selling, where they're going to go on vacation and learning something it's not they're not using it for business primarily. So of course they're on there talking about the most important decision that they're ever going to make, right? So Danielle, is there anybody mention anything in the chats?
Yeah, everybody's saying, yeah, totally. That yes, they feel like they know more than we do. When we all probably saw the Super Bowl ad yesterday, I thought that was really
Oh,
interesting, really
the
leaning in
Claude
saying
one?
AI home buying, yeah, AI home buying and the emotional aspect
Yeah.
of it to visualize. So, yeah.
And I got to pick on NAR a little bit. I think they're doing some crazy things, but yeah, it's wild. And you guys, even before ChatGPT hit, the number one consumer complaint was actually that they felt like they knew more than the agent. And that had transitioned from they felt like communication wasn't good from the agent. And that was before ChatGPT. So in a knowledge-based service industry like we're going to talk about really deeply about how we want to position ourselves in the future and how you can win in that. So at the end of the day, this is where you want to live. And this is where we're living right now. This is what I'm focusing on is the intersection of the industry, the professional in the street earning 100% commission, trying to make a living here, serving clients, the consumer, AI, technology in general, and most importantly, best practices. Best practice. This is the intersection that you want to focus your business on, right? Skate where this puck is headed. The trend of the consumer, the industry, you and the season of your business, best practices, AI and technology in general, like skate to that puck. And that's what we're trying to frame today here is where that puck is at. Um, all right. Now, let's see here. Can everybody, if you have ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatever, or Claude on your phone, would you please pull out your phone and scan this QR code for me if you have your phone available? Um, I want to show you something here. I see Glenn. Glenn, you're doing it. And when you do so, scroll down, scroll down a little bit to, If you see like my little pretty face, scroll down where it says Ask Your Own AI Assistant. You guys see that button? Glenn, can you see that button? I can see you on here. And if you click on the ChatGPT or Perplexity or Claude button, click on that, and then you're going to see it's going to open up your app. When it opens up your app, you'll see that there's a prompt that's already been pasted there for you. Oh, Jason's in the waiting room. And then go ahead and click, enter on that prompt. So if anybody has any question about the things that we're working on or what we're working on, now you have your own AI assistant that's been preloaded with all of our details and all the information that you can properly, have a conversation about anything that we're working on here at Huzi, which I think is pretty cool. So hopefully you're able to get that done and download that and click that button so you can have a conversation after today with your AI assistant. And now it's been trained on everything that we have available for what we're calling Project Satori. Now, I also point that out because can you imagine like putting a tool like that on your website or in an open house where you're training everybody else's trusted AI assistant to be able to know things about you and not just rely on the training data or what it finds online, right? So when I said kind of the top of the webinar that agents are finding a way for AI to be used on their business, this is an example where I'm kind of leveraging all of your AI assistants to be able to answer questions about what we're doing instead of me having to do all the heavy lifting. So little things like this are what people are starting to really realize that they can do is find a way to leverage everybody else's AI use and just know that your customers are fact checking you after you leave the appointments anyways. So you might as well collaborate with them on their use and research on you, on your service, on your market, instead of just letting them do it on their own accord. Danielle, does that land? Does that make sense?
Hmm. Yes.
Okay.
I'm a couple people in the chat said they didn't see it. So I was just answering. You guys just go to the section that says research with your trusted AI assistant. You'll see the little boxes, Claude, GPT, ChatGPT, Perplexity. Just whatever model you use is all Eric's directing you to. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. This is obvious. I'm not gonna spend too much time on the slide, even though Daniel, I like the slide. You made this slide for me. I appreciate this very much. But really, like the ones that are growing, I've just really transitioned. They recognize that their busyness is their constraints, and they've moved to strategic. They've also moved from the idea of needing another webinar, even though you're on one today, another coach, more ideas. They don't need more ideas. They already have all the ideas. They just need more implementation. They don't need to buy more technology. They already have a lot of technology. Maybe they actually can eliminate some of the technology. And so there is a trend where I'm seeing when I'm talking to the ones that are the solo agents that are beating teams, they're in this right side column. They don't feel like they're competing with a big team. They feel in charge of their business, Daniel. I've really noticed that. They don't feel like, oh my gosh, I can't keep up and I'm always behind and I'm working all these hours. They've been able to really think strategically to get to a place where they're actually loving their business again. They're reminded why they got in the business in the first place. And it wasn't to be a social media marketer. It wasn't to be a compliance expert. It wasn't to be a tech whiz and a tech guru. It was other things they got in the business. They're being able to remind themselves and lean into that business again, which I think is super refreshing.
not only what got them in the business, but I think where they're most valuable in the business
In the
is
business. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, where they're most valuable.
All right, first concept. We need to modernize the team concept. Who's read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, by Gary Keller? Put it in the chat. This is a screenshot. I was using Canvas, doing a little preparation for this class and kind of diving and reminding myself what was in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. It's really a groundbreaking book at the time, really talking about the only way that we had the ability to scale our business was to hire more people, was to add team members. And not everybody on this call wants to be a manager of people. And that was kind of the downside, is the only way to grow the business was to grow our headache with managing additional people. So rethinking that the team concept now, you replace the human team members with AI team workflows. Like we start to think about those in the components of our business where we're talking about here, like on the screenshot, about administrative assistants, listing coordinators, buyer specialists, all those sorts of things can be replaced by AI powered workflows. They still need to be leveraged in your business, but you don't have to hire a person now to that. Now, before I go any further, by the way, I think people should have jobs, and I hope that AI just doesn't wipe out all the economy. But for you and your business, you have to leverage. And we've got to lower your operating expense so you can have that durable profit no matter what the market brings you. And the way you do that is by having the highest leverage business, and that's with having AI-powered workflows in today's market. So just remodernizing the team concept needs to start first and foremost. Danielle, you're going to say something?
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to add one little asterisk on this because I don't want to just skim over the fact that this should be very, very strategic. So what we're not talking about is taking everything that you do in your business and figuring out a way to apply AI to it. Because yes, you could do that. And that actually is the difference between those that are kind of floundering and the
Yeah.
strategic agent who is not shipping out their real value, right? And what it is that their client would continue to come to them for. But they're figuring out what tasks in their business they have a low return on, right? The $25 an hour tasks that now can be automated or augmented with AI so that they can reallocate their time to the $500 an hour tasks, right? Because that's what our business is full of. So I just want to be very, very clear that you could, right, take AI and put it on every single system in your business. And that is
Yeah.
not what we're suggesting. That is a miss.
In fact, that's what's happened over the last couple of years. Now people have
Yes.
too many passwords, too many systems, too many processes. And if I were to ask everybody on this call, I said, hey, if you were forced to go to a brand new market where you've never been before, you don't know anybody, you had a limited budget, and before you could come home and see your family, you had to make $100,000 in GCI, what would you say? And I bet nobody on here would be like, you know what? I would get a HeyGen account, make AI avatars of myself, and well, like you wouldn't. That would be part of what the thought process would be, and that's what people are doing though today, and it just blows my mind. I was actually telling Jen about this earlier. I was like, there's that story of the fisherman and the businessman, you know, that parable. The fisherman sitting on the beach and the businessman walks up and the fisherman's just killing it. And the businessman is like, oh my God, what you should do is you should hire some more fishermen, get another boat, you know, and buy a boat, get this fleet, right? And then sell this fish to get this other boat. And you can make more money from that boat. And then you could retire and do the things you love. And the fisherman's like, what do you think I'm doing now? You're just sitting there, and the whole thing is that we're scaling things that don't need to be scaled in the first place. We're automating processes that shouldn't exist in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, so one of the things we were doing, Danielle, like I did an intake for a Satori client last week, and we used first principles thinking, and he was so proud to show off this AI-powered workflow that saved him and his assistant about an hour and a half each week. And by the end of the conversation, we realized that shouldn't even been optimized in the first place. And we just killed it even, right? And reallocated that hour and a half somewhere else. So remember that businessman and fisherman sort of vibe as you're thinking about these workflows, and should it exist in the first place?
Yeah, and to be clear, so killed that hour and a half workflow because that workflow had never proven successful. And so even though that time
Yeah.
was saved, it still was something that didn't exist in the business. So strategy.
Yeah, and he hadn't tracked it, right? And so we just went back, found the data to track it, and be like, oh, even the hour and a half, because it was 3 hours and I got it down to an hour and a half. Even that hour and a half now was a complete and utter waste of time, right? So we just reallocated the other hour and a half. So it went from three on this thing to an hour and a half to zero because it just didn't even need to be done. But he was so proud of it. And I was like, oh man, I hate to tell you this, but let's kill that sucker, you know? Okay, put in the chat, who's heard of OpenClaw? Has anybody heard of OpenClaw yet? Yes, no? Danielle, are you seeing yeses or nos in the chat for OpenClaw?
Nobody's responding yet, so I don't know if
Okay.
I'm going to say no. No.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
No. Okay. I'm pointing this out because this is the year of agentic AI finally. And let me just define agentic AI. Agentic AI does not mean it's sentient, does not mean it has a conscience, does not mean it has, you know, intent or pre-planning, just to be really, really clear. So now if you go and you Google either OpenClaw or Maltbot, you're gonna see all sorts of things about AI taking over the world. It's not at all what it is, but essentially it's a new operating system. And the operating system has access to a large language model like Claude or like OpenAI or like Kimi K2. And then that language model has tools like browsing the internet or like access to your emails or your calendar. And then it's given a set of tasks or jobs. What we've known in computer programming before is cron jobs, timed execution of tasks. So what that sort of environment allows somebody to do is have an AI that works without you prompting it, right? It could work autonomously on a particular task without you ever having to like sit down and act like ChatGPT and like act as a marketer and blah 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 blah, and you have it do it. You have a chat with it. Okay. I've now built a few of these. It's wildly powerful. It's almost ready for production. Um, but I just want you to go online and do not install one of these unless you know exactly what you're doing, because people are getting their credit cards taken, their files deleted, and all sorts of things. But it's an incredible technology. And what has happened is that these AIs went off and started their own social network, and it's called maltbook.com. And if you log in now, there's
Well,
millions of them, and it's not all AIs. They say it's all AI, but it's not. So if you read through there and you see some crazy stuff, it's people hacking in and just causing havoc and pretending to be AI just for fun. But this is a real new phenomenon for people to now have AIs working out for you constantly. Your customers are playing around with these tools. Is the reason I'm bringing this up. Okay. Now I have one, Danielle. I built it and I require it. It builds me a dashboard every morning. It tells me what it's working on, what its tasks are for the day, the items in the queue, and asks me permission to do certain things. It builds me a live web page in the morning of like what it's working on so I could see it, right? It's crazy stuff what's coming this year. People are moving from just chatting with ChatGPT at lightning pace, to be clear. Okay. So this is a phenomenon. I just want to bring it up. If you are reading about it, please, if somebody says this is now AGI, artificial general intelligence, AIs are now, wanting to form their own religion and therefore we got to shut them down. None of that is true. So just don't go there. Okay. Fair enough, Danielle?
fair.
Okay. All right. But I do want to point that out. So point with all AIs is trust and verify. Security first, see what's happening. At Huzi, we do have a trust center. It's trust.huzi.ai. It's a third party that monitors all of our tools and resources. If you are using an AI system and they don't have a really clear privacy policy, data security policy, or a trust center like this, please do not download it on your computer or give them your credit card, especially today. Okay. I saw one, Danielle. It was funny. His AI, he messaged his AI, he goes, "Did you do something funny?" And the AI says, "No, what do you mean?" He said, "I just got a charge for $2,997 on my credit card." And the AI said, "Oh yeah, I bought an Alex Hormozy course because I wanted to learn how to more optimize our social media for you." Right? And so the AI literally went off because he had a credit card and bought this course so it can learn how to properly do social media for this guy's gave him a task of being able to blow up a social media account. So the AI went and bought 3 grand worth of Alex Hormozy courses. So there you go. Okay. Funny. All right. Let's talk about the AI powered consumer, Danielle. Let's see where these guys are going. Um, Man, how do I frame this? Let's just go to statistics. Um, and if I'm hoping, by the way, for the next couple of minutes, I'm saying things that everybody already knows. So I hope this is a recap. I just want to make sure I get out there just in case, though. So of all global searches online now, that are going to an AI, 60% of those, no matter how they're interacting with an AI, do not end in a click through to your site or any site at all. They're just staying in the chat. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, because I want to be so clear that the internet moving from a place of search to a place of conversation has to be on your radar to figure out for this year. So the reason why Zillow got billions of dollars in commission from us is because they were upstream and the internet was a place of search. They search for things, listings, rates, people. Now they're going to AI to have conversations, and it's a completely different strategy, a completely different business now when the consumer does this, whether before it did that. The good thing is it now has leveled the playing field with us and Zillow and everybody else. The bad thing is it's leveled the playing field. So you have to play a new game, right? So 60% of all searches now, kind of a crazy stat, 90 or 93% of all AI powered searches result in a zero-click search. What that means is if you go to Google and you see the Gemini summary at the top, right? 93% of the time, that's enough for the consumer. They're not actually going through the 10 blue links, finding the vendor, then searching to who to contact and then reaching out and asking the question. The AI synthesizes all that necessary data into one response, and these are all of the things they used to call us for. Just to let that land for a minute. So all of the things, hey, unfortunately, my father just passed away in Idaho. Is that a community property state, right? They don't call an agent and ask that. They just ask their AI. Hey, I'm thinking about moving to Beaverton. I'm not sure if Beaverton or Tiger or Tualatin, like what's really the difference in the school district? They're not going to their realtor or the lender partner. They're going to their AI companion. They're not saying, hey, is now a good time to buy or sell to the realtor? They're going to their AI asking that question. You guys follow me on that, right? Like it's
Hmm.
really, really clear. So that is now really transitioning our value and how we need to position and what we need to be posting about and talking about online. Okay. So 25% is at least the predicted drop in traditional search volume for this year. At least 25% drop volume in from Google. So people are going to their ChatGPT more, Perplexity, Grok more than ever before. That's going to continue to go at an exponential rate. I actually think that's pretty conservative based on the trends that we're seeing currently right now. But that is a big, big number. And that's why we see things like Zillow integrating with ChatGPT because they recognize that, right? And we're going to talk about a little bit about AEO, GEO, and then also if you guys saw the Super Bowl commercials where Claude's picking on OpenAI for now coming up with ads in ChatGPT, there's now going to be
Hmm.
paid ads in ChatGPT, which is a new dynamic as well. I love that ad. Did you see that one in the Super
Yeah,
Bowl?
I did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was snarky and good. It was pretty funny. All right. So one of the things to compete against a team, teams are going to be tempted to scale, scale, scale. How big is our database? How many people can reach out to every day? Can I spin up an AI dialer that will call 1,000 leads today to try and get a listing appointment? They're using AI to blast, scale, scale, scale. The individual, the small teams has to realize that to optimize a relationship is to effectively end it in today's world. What I mean by that is now 55% of consumers now have a negative sentiment towards your brand if they feel like your outreach was AI automated or low effort. Okay. 35% of saying, I'm actually really considering not even using a brand if all I get from them is AI automation, AI avatars, AI this, AI this, AI this, and just spamming me with calls and texts and whatnot. They're actually saying, I'm not even interested in that brand at all. This is a growing number. So the solo agent or the small team has an advantage here to realize that now the game is personalization in everything they do, not optimization of a relationship, personalization of the relationship. Danielle, does that land?
It does, and I think like this is the opportunity with AI because personalization is something that we've never been able to do at scale before.
It was really hard,
Yeah,
you
very.
know. So when we'll get a little deeper here, I'll give a couple of real good examples. But the trend with the AI-powered consumer is realizing now that we cannot be the person that knows everything about FHA loans. We cannot be the person that knows everything about the Dunthorpe Lake Oswego neighborhood. Knowledge is no longer the thing they're craving because everybody has knowledge. It is the wisdom. We have to move from the knowledge worker to the wisdom worker. Before, you could get a lot of Google five-star reviews by somebody saying, hey, Danielle knew everything about Lake Oswego. That's no longer what they're craving. They're craving, now the reviews are going to say, oh my God, Danielle really got us. Danielle really understood us. Danielle knew what we really needed. Daniel really was able to cut through the information overload and show us strategically exactly the moves to make because they have a wise like assistant in their pocket, but it does not know the difference between Third Street and Second Street. It does not know the sound of the train. It does not know if this one smells because you got a paper mill over here, right? ChatGPT doesn't know those things, but the expert really does. So moving from a knowledge worker to the wisdom strategist has got to be part of your ethos, especially as a solo agent. Okay. Got to really embed them into the lives. Use AI to do the drudgery. Use AI to raise your EQ and your emotional intelligence with your clients. This is the biggest pivot I think that we have to make in this next 12 months for sure. I actually wrote a manifesto about this. If you want to scan this QR code, it's free, completely free. You can check it out. People are downloading this like crazy. I'm flying to South Carolina tomorrow to give a speech on this because it's really impacting the way people are thinking about the AI-powered consumer. And it really talked about how when the whole industry is so tempted to move towards AI optimization, operations let's optimize, they're not realizing that's a zero-sum game because you can almost only get it to free and instant, and that's table stakes. You have to be efficient. You have to be operationally sound, right? It's the other side of it. How do we create not just a consistent and transparent experience, but a memorable one? Right? A human one, or else they are just going to be able to use an AI chatbot to go through their transaction. So we gotta really focus on that. I think the empty room manifesto is pretty powerful. I hope you enjoy it. It's free completely. Or you go to ericpost.ai to get that. Okay. So what is AEO, GEO? Does somebody know a great definition of the difference between AEO, GEO? Danielle, is Patrick Sheehan still on this call? I might want to pick on Patrick. Is Patrick here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Patrick, I
I have no
trust you.
idea what AEO and GEO is. I'm sorry.
No way! I thought you'd kill this for me. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Good morning, by the way, buddy. Good to see you out here.
Yeah.
All right. So SEO, the reason why this is important, this is really hyper important for the solopreneur to get in and figure this out now. Um, SEO is search engine optimization. That's the internet with a place of things. You have backlinks and keywords, and you wrote blog posts to get Google to find you and recommend you. AEO is answer engine optimization. GEO is generation engine optimization. This is the science and the art, both kind of combined into one, of how do you get ChatGPT to recommend you? How do you get Perplexity to cite you as an expert when your consumer is going there asking questions on their AI that they used to ask you? Right? This is how you turn these large language models into your salesperson. Okay. This is an important thing right now as we see in those earlier stats. If people are going to AI, they're asking a question, and 93% of the time they don't click through to a website, then how do you get the AI to have you and your expertise and your brand be part of those answers that they're giving to your clients? And more importantly, how do you now generate leads through ChatGPT because it's recommending you or you're giving your answers instead of somebody else's? That's the name of the game. We have clients now that are actually getting leads from ChatGPT because they've been able to have a voice of authority online now. And what's crazy is that I have to say the words that no longer are we writing content online for just people. We're also creating content online for AIs to crawl and read and learn about you and your services. And the way you write for an AI to read and crawl your website is different than the way you write for your consumer to read about you. But we have a new middleman between you and your consumer, and that's that AI. So it's really critical to turn that middleman into your billboard, into your marketer, into your person that knows your expertise. Kind of like what I did with that earlier when I scanned your code and had you push the ChatGPT. Now your ChatGPT knows everything about what I'm working on, so you can ask it intelligent questions, and it's less likely to hallucinate or give bad information or not have any information about you in its training data at all. Even worse. So AEO and GEO is a strategy. I'm going to spend a few minutes on really talking about how to do it. So even if you never use a piece of software from Huzi or use one of our services, you actually can know what to do on your own after today. Okay. Daniel, anything else you want me to add about this?
Yeah, I do actually, because SEO, we've heard that term acronym for many, many years now. And I think some agents just spin and look to optimize their SEO. How can I do this? Do I write a blog post? So on and so forth. And a lot of my consultations have been, have you ever done cold lead generation? Or is all your business coming from your sphere of influence? And that's the perfect example of where SEO probably was never necessary for you, if unless you were looking to generate leads that way. But in this instance, it is different because now your clients, your sphere of influence, your past clients are starting with chat now. And there is potential that you lose this. So this isn't just for lead generation, this is also retention of
Yeah.
proven business you've had in the past.
Absolutely great, great. The reason why I put this point up here is because there's also a lot of, if I'm just being honest, charlatans in the space talking about how to do this now, and they don't understand it at all. They haven't done the work, they haven't done the research. This is one of my preliminary boards of ingesting the best practices from the experts in the tech world and actually figuring out the process to do this specifically for real estate agents and loan officers. We actually built a piece of software that helps people do this specifically, but I'm going to use screenshots from the software to help you understand how to do it yourself as well if you don't want to have a piece of software help you. But the metric of success has shifted from like ranking on Google to being a citation by an LLM. That's what you have to think about this. How do I get recommended by them? So if you see kind of this wheel chart here, you see I have SEO, AEO, and GEO. And by the way, don't let the technology like the terms AEOG like don't let the acronyms like sound like it's scary or whatever. All you're figuring out is how do you create a niche and authority graph that you have a voice and opinion that's worth being referenced, which is always something that we wanted to do, right? So this isn't a new idea, just the implementation is different. We just got to tweak the way we think about it and the way we apply it now. So the difference between AEO and GEO, a lot of people are out there coaching saying, "Hey, when your customers go to ChatGPT and they say, I want to know what the top three real estate agents are in Wesleyan, Oregon, you want to be cited there." But that's not what consumers are doing, at least at first. They're going there and talking about the market and the schools and buying and selling. And do I have to have an 800 credit score? And do I have to sell my house first before I buy my house? And all those questions, those are all upstream of the selection process. Those are all the conversations that are happening upstream of asking about who the agent is that they should talk to and talk about. So the GEO is the generation engine optimization. So when somebody says, "Tell me about the schools and the quality of schools in Beaverton, Oregon," what ChatGPT in this example, just for example, will do, they'll either use its training data and or it'll go online to find to find information and bring it back. So if you become a voice of authority about the Beaverton schools, the ChatGPT will return, here's about the school district, and Danielle Bate, a prominent real estate agent in the area, also says that this school district, this school district, this district about these things, and it will cite her and her expertise in that generation, right? So now as they continue to have a conversation, they've now Daniel's been entered into the chat. Daniel's been entered into the conversation with the client, and that's how important it is to get upstream of the selection process. Okay, so generation engine optimization, answer engine optimization is like, hey, who do I call? Then that's when you have to like, hey, here's how you rank and be referenced in the top three or the top five real estate agent. But you have to think about the GEO first. And SEO, guys, is just the foundation for all this. So if you don't have a good business profile, if you don't have a active website that you're publishing to often that is dead, it's just a static IDX site or it's a static sort of placeholder site. If you don't have those, you got to get started with that first because that's the foundation of anything else, right? So you can start on those first, and then you can work on your voice of authority. So how we do it is that we actually break down into three different columns. And what we do is we look to see, all right, in your business, Danielle, what are the typical life triggers that has caused somebody to call you over the last 5 years, 10 years of your career? Like what happens in their life to call you? We document those things. Then we figure out, all right, now when they have those life triggers, what's the friction points that they have? What's the concerns they have? What's the education they have to go through? Once they realize, okay, I need to buy my first house, and they go, but what's an FHA loan? Now they need to learn about an FHA loan, right? So you go from life trigger to education, then finally is the selection process. So we break those conversations down into these three columns, and that's the content that you create. You create the content around these three columns. Now I'm showing you a piece of software where what we do is that we should create these three columns, and then we're monitoring every single day in all five large language models, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, Grok, and Claude, what those LLMs are actually citing. We're tracking all of those generations. We're tracking where they're getting their information from, and then we're giving the AI what to write, so you can then game the system and you can be the one-sided source. So what I want you to take away from today is if you want to be part of these conversations, this does not happen on accident. There's a science to it. There's a process for it. Have your three columns, your three sort of phases of research. You want to find out what the AI is citing and where you need to have your content posted. and they need to create content that's readable by AI. That's really the process, Daniel. Is that clear enough?
Hmm.
Anything you want me to add about that?
No, just no,
Okay.
just we yeah want to know how to do that.
Okay. So the asset everybody needs now today, I want you to write down, everybody needs an authority site now. This is one new thing that you have to have today. It's not just a blog. It's not just your website. Like the industry is still giving out IDX websites to agents, and it's not what's, people are going to. You have to have what's called an authority site. An authority site is where you're going to decide what sorts of uh, real estate are you going to carve out digitally online that you freaking own? Like you are the FHA Louisiana, I'm winning, personality. Like that's the space that I own. And you don't also talk about reverse mortgages and also talk about jumbo loans and also talk about what's happening, over in Mississippi. Like you stay so focused on your authority that it's impossible for an AI to ignore when and if your customers start asking to their AIs about this sort of topic. Okay. When the world's so noisy. So what I'm doing here is I'm showing like the way we structure it is that we have an AI that's trained to build content specifically designed to be read by AIs now. Okay. So if you want to know more about that, you can let me know about it. We can teach another class on it, but you have to have your own authority site in today's world. There is no way to compete unless you have the authority site online anymore. All right. God dang it. This is lasting. We're going so far over already, Danielle. This is crazy. All right. Do the deep dive. Do the deep dive. Every single solo agent that's beating out the team has done an honest and deep assessment of their business and then started cutting things away. Before they started doing something new, they stopped doing something old. And on top of that, the deep dive should include proven, repeatable, and durable business systems as a way to look at your business. Not just how do I feel about it, not just, what's my listing price to sell price ratio, but like this is a system that I actually used for one of our last clients. We chose Lean Six Sigma, 80/20, Spin Selling, OODA Loops, ADA, Blue Ocean, and Challenger Sale as the frameworks to kind of evaluate their business inside of. The funny thing is, I used AI in this example, Danielle, to realize he needed to use less AI in his business. Actually, it was ironic, right? So, but do the deep dive and really figure out because you can't scale chaos what is the goal of using the AI? Like, where are we at? Like, what's the reason I would even like want a system at all in my business? And in my opinion, it's personalization at scale. How do you take the things that used to take an hour, used to take a half hour, make them take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then you're able to do more for more people that's personalized. That's the name of the game. That's the whole reason why you use AI, is to take the mission critical skills, make them take less time so you can do personalized reach out, personalized responses, personalized research, personalized content, lunches at scale. That's the whole reason to do it. Um, I'm gonna have a couple of prompts here that I'm gonna share with you guys. So if you want a copy of these slides, just put it in the chat. Just say copy of the slides in the chat, and we'll make sure we send you a copy of all these slides. This is a prompt that I created that will help people be able to copy and paste, that will help look through your past emails, look through your calendar, provide suggestions of how to maximize your time, how to maximize a certain amount of relationships that you have. This is an example of a prompt that you should use to AI when you start to dive deep into your business. And I want to share that with you guys today so you can steal that one. And then you want to do that day after day after day. So the other thing that I've realized that the solo agent needs to do is not scrap everything they've been doing and just start fresh. They just make small tweaks each day. They just start like realizing, okay, I'm not going to get overwhelmed. I'm going to make small tweak today, number one. Cool. Put that in place for a couple days. Small tweak number two on Wednesday. Put that in place for a couple days. Small tweak on Friday. Put that small little 2 millimeter phases. And over time, they will, in 6 months from now, you have a completely different business. You don't have to do it all today. Just one after another. And that's how you make it digestible and not go crazy in the business. All right. Before you want to scale your business or you want to compete, you've got to document every process. Here's a prompt that I want to share with you about how to document your process. You can use it as a ChatGPT or Huzi if you want. how to document your processes. You cannot AI powered workflow anything unless it's a documented process because you end up with kind of just AI powered slop. So go through, document every process. If it's not documented, you can't leverage it. Then it's just you operating your business. If you have a documented system, then this is something you can hand off to somebody else, hand off to an AI, put an AI powered workflow, or fully evaluate if it's working or not, if you should even keep it, right? We got to go through our day. And this is another prompt I wrote for you that will help you kind of document some of your processes. And at the end, decide if it's even a process that you should have in the first place.
And I
Next.
think this, I just want to point out, I think this, if there's any other takeaway, this is where people are missing the mark and not seeing the return on investment with the technology, is that they're putting the technology before even developing processes in their business. And that's why I started by saying you already have a successful business. You recognize there's processes, even if they're not documented in the moment, you recognize that there's things that you do. That's what you want to use technology for.
And all these AI powered workflows, I'm sure some people on this call have been using, like GPTs or building custom GPTs. Now in 2026, the way you're going to compete is if all those GPTs are in one environment and they can all talk to each other and they're integrated with your tools. If you just have a couple of random, AI tools and more workflows, it doesn't, then you're just gonna, it's scaling chaos. So you have to find a way to put all of your GPTs in some organized accessible place that's integrated with your email, with your calendar, with your drive. We're launching this new. We've launched this out with our high-end coaching clients. Anybody on this call who is a uh, early partner of Huzi, a founder partner of Huzi, you're going to get access to this for free as a part of our promise to you that all the stuff that we roll out, you're going to get access to. But it's our next version of the chat interface that is completely integrated with all of your tools. It builds out all of your AI powered workflows for you. So when you have your AI assistant, it's not a chatbot, but it's a part of your workflows, like Claude Cowork or our version of ChatGPT. This is how the solo agent can compete. Because in one interface, you control all of your email, you control your calendar, you control all of your documentation, you control all your marketing. You never open a bunch of tabs. You're in one place, and this is important philosophy for a solo agent to crush it this next year. And I'm sharing this screen, Danielle. And I'm going to go over by 1 or 2 more minutes, Danielle. And if anybody has to drop, that's okay. Do you feel like that's a good thing, Danielle? Or can I keep going just for a couple more minutes? Or you want me to wrap up?
Sure. Would love the information.
All right, I'm going to keep going just a few more minutes. If you need to drop, go ahead and drop. I get it. But I feel like I want to get a few more of these things out here. Um, your processes, the difference between the solo agent that kills it and the team leader that has a whole bunch of people to manage is that the solo agent thinks of their business as one continuous process. They're not developing these siloed processes with start and end. Think of your processes as starting from the center. And if a buyer decide to buy, then you have your processes go from investigation, loan approval, looking for a house, making an offer, being a transaction, going back to close. Then they think about selling their house. They go through the pre-listing phase, the listing phase. Design your processes so they don't start and end. They flow, and you want to move, think of it like a chessboard. You want to move the pieces of the chessboard around this thing so it's flowing. You don't have a bunch of disparate processes. So really think about your SOPs, your processes as this sort of flowing diagram, and that will help make sure that you don't have a bunch of dead ends created and that you have to pick up these dead ends and hand them off to the next thing. Big thing I'm seeing, Danielle, between the ones that are killing it and ones that are not. Um, the other thing for 2026, AI has moved away from just chatting now. It is not, they're not just chatbots. So as an example, in the Spark Pad, like last night, I uploaded, all of my contacts that I had, Danielle, and I said, build me a tool where I can sort through and find all of my best refinance opportunities right through this tool. And it was able to actually sort through and create, it literally built vibe coded me this tool in real time that I was able to access. And now I just said, all right, today's interest rate is this. Here's the people I'm looking for. In what states? It has all my information on here. So I took an Excel spreadsheet, an ugly Excel spreadsheet, gave it to Huzi and said, build me this tool that will allow me to get insight that I'm looking for today. And it can build that right in real time, right in front of you. This is what the people that are realizing that AI is more than a chatbot. It's an assistant to help you accomplish what you need to do. Whereas before, you had to have somebody do this. You had to have somebody figure this out for you, or hire this out, or buy another subscription. Now you just literally ask your AI, "Here's my spreadsheet. I want to get this insight. I want to do this task with it. Build me the tool to do it." AI does that now. I want to make that really, really clear. So the AI fluency, if you're giving yourself an AI of 5 or above and you're not using AI in this way, you're not there yet. You're not there yet, right? So really think about how to use AI to build tools that you need in order to move your business forward in real time, dynamic tools. Okay, that's really cool. Danielle, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then lastly, if anybody wants any details about all of our tools that we have access to, scan this QR code. It goes to a Calendly for 30 minutes, and Danielle and myself or Rick will go through a deep dive on the different tools that we have and how they work and how they might be able to impact your business in a positive way. And if you miss this QR code, you can put it in the chat and we will get back to you. Okay, Danielle, I'm going to get to the wrap up, which is going to be right here. And then we're going to ask any questions and then we'll be done. Okay. So what we do have a system that we do all of that for you now, which is something new. One of the things we learned over the last 3 years is that people don't want to learn more or take the time to learn more. They want it done for them. And
Yes.
as there's been this separation, people are like, no, don't teach me how to do this stuff. I just want it done, right? I don't want another username and password. I just want to implement it on my behalf. So we do have a process now, and it is a full deep dive into your business. We build out the AI-powered workflows for you, so you don't have to learn how to build anything. We build out your roadmap for you, your branding, your top of funnel strategy for and with you. Evaluate all of your lead conversion strategies. We modernize your content creation strategy for the SEO, AEO, GEO world. We give you a roadmap. It takes us a good 7 days to build a roadmap, and we're working with you over the next 14 to deliver the items that you need. It's completely personalized. And you walk away with a pre-built AI assistant that has the type of workflows that you need, clarity on your roadmap, and everything kind of put in place to look on launch you for 2026. It costs $5,000 to do it. How we do it is a $1,000 deposit that's completely refundable. So you put down $1,000, you do a full hour with us, we do a full intake and a deep dive of your business. And if it's not obvious that you can't save 10 hours and then revert that hours and reallocate those to increase your business by 10 to 20% this next year, then we're going to give you your money back and you're going to go on your way. So it's really only one of those that if it's, yeah, it's a win. Like I can see a clear path to my ROI is when clients move forward. There's no clear path to ROI, it costs you $0. So if that is something that people want to do, then on the right-hand side, we can only do a few of these per month because of how in depth that we do personally. So if you do want to do something like that, you want to put a deposit down and claim one of the spots, use the QR code on the right-hand side. If you're not quite sure and you want a little more information about 15 minutes of my time or Danielle's time, click the QR code on the left-hand side and we'll just have a little deep dive and a little come to Jesus and see if it's the right kind of fit for you. But it's the thing that we've learned the most over the last few years is people are like, listen, I'm overloaded. I just want stuff done for me. I want to make sure my branding's on point, my message on point, my content creation's on point, my lead generation's on point, and I want AI powered to help me crush it this year. That's why we came up with Project Satori. Danielle,
Yeah, and
anything
to
else
be
you have to say on
clear,
that?
these are for producers, people who have success in their business. So this is
Right.
not coaching, like you're just getting started in your business and someone's gonna create a business for you. This
No.
is you already have momentum. You recognize you're more valuable in the field, and you know that your processes could be empowered with some a technology placed on top of them, but you just don't want to slow that momentum to learn something to then implement it yourself. This is the done for you service. So
Yeah.
it does start with the consultation. It's been actually really powerful. I love Eric, one of our quotes from one of the most recent clients, actually, we're working with him right now in the build out. He said, I've never had this much direction or clarity about my business in my entire career.
Oh,
That
that's
in and
cool.
of
Yeah.
itself. Yeah, so cool.
So that's the goal. I mean, the reason, so Satori, if you didn't know, Satori means clarity and epiphany and aha. That's what the word means. And I really want to lean into that because it's so noisy. The world is so noisy and it's so hard to know exactly what to do. We're all dangled by the shiny object syndrome. So we came up with this offer for people that I kept hearing over and over and over. I love this stuff, but I don't have the time to learn it. I know I need to do this, but I can't, take time away from my kids and everything else to go do this too. So, okay, cool. We have the ability to do this. Now, this is something we couldn't do at this price without AI leverage. Like we couldn't do this deep dive and build these things unless we had the systems built behind the scenes. So we kind of use AI on your behalf in this way. So that's the offer I want to make sure people know today. I've given you a chance to put the slides, download the book, take us off on this. We only have a certain slot, so if you're the one that want to kill it 2026, let us know. Do the deep dive. Consider the AEO, GEO strategy being your premier way of thinking about your content creation this year. Really think about elevating from a chatbot relationship with AI to an integrated tool and services and building things for you and with you AI, and realize that your customers are expecting that, right? That's the most important thing. Now, that said, I'm going to sit here and take as many questions as people have. Is there any questions in the chat or people want to live uh, unmute themselves and ask me any questions about anything? Danielle, did I miss any questions in the chat?
I don't think so. Someone's just looking for the QR code, so just clarifying what they're looking for here. And yeah, nope, people are just saying valuable. Thank you, Eric.
Okay, good, good, good. So I'm going to leave this up like this, and I'm going to open the chat. I'm going to say, oh, God, you guys. Okay, good. Anything else I can do for anybody else today? Any questions about stats? What's happening? Moltbot, anything else just for fun? Terminator's coming? No? I see Daniel, by the way. Hi, Daniel. Okay, good. Good. So what I'm gonna ask you guys to do, please sign up if you want to get a part of this platform because we do only have a few slots and we will get to work right away with you on your business. And Danielle, I just thank you for being here as well and helping me put this on. And do you have any final thoughts?
No, thank you. Thank you all for joining us. And if you miss out on the February round, we'll be opening up more slots in March as well too. So we'll keep you posted. So if you miss out on this round, it's not lost forever. We'll keep you posted. But thanks so much for joining us today, and reach out if we can do anything to assist you.